this morning at GenCon, there was a beta draft, and we're going to take a look at some of the highlights, some of the hottest rips from that draft. Let's take a look. There's been 7 pretty cool cards opened, and we're going to get a chance to see some of them.
Yeah, certainly have. Let's rock and roll, get that show on the road. We'll show you what happened down there. 8 qualifiers through the course of the weekend, so 8 players who went to GenCon had a chance to qualify. This was actually the very first pack out of the booster, and I'm already looking forward to having a Disenchant in my collection.
Taking a look here as some of the cards are being laid out. This is actually pack number 1, so this was the first pack that was cracked at GenCon. Ooh, there's a pretty good one. This card made quite a showing in our draft here, Luis.
Yeah, Pestilence is and remains one of the best cards in the history of limited Magic. You know, the original sets weren't exactly designed with limited in mind. In fact, all Magic played kind of was just Magic. There, you know, you open a starter deck and went. But Pestilence certainly one of the best cards you could possibly open. But look at that.
Wrath of God.
Yeah. Beautiful.
The really cool thing about these drafts, I had the fortune to be able to qualify for the one in Las Vegas, is you want to win the draft. There's an alpha starter for first. That's just a wonderful prize. You know, there's a bit of magic and mystery about having that. But you also want cards like Wrath of God. You know, Ben Stark opened an underground sea in Vegas, and balancing whether you want Pestilence or Wrath of God is just really tricky.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you're looking at the Wrath of God. When people talk about, oh, it's a 5-mana Wrath, a 6-mana Wrath, a 7-mana Wrath, that's Wrath. Right there, the first, the original. It's like
the black bordered original.
Right.
Yes.
What would destroy everything? Well, it's got to be like something coming down from on high. That's heaven. That's God. It's like
classic Quentin Hoover art.
It's the absolutely stunning card. I think I would have picked that for sure, just because as Wrath of God, I play with it. For
Lots
so
of
many
classics
years.
in this pack as well. Llanowar Elves, Prodigal Sorcerer.
We're getting
Red
ever
Elemental
closer
Blast.
to our rare here, which is, from what I hear, a pretty good one. Okay,
Is
one
it
more
a
to go.
forest?
One more to go, Rich. One more to go. And there it is, Mox Jet.
Yes.
Beautiful Mox Jet. This,
Someone's heart.
Could you grade that for us, please?
from my eyes right there, it looks like at least a 9. You know, and if you're lucky, a 9.5, but probably a 9.
Yeah, just to clarify, these days there are whole companies that will look at cards, and this is like baseball cards and football cards for you as well, and just go, okay, we will grade this for you on a scale of 1 to 10, and a card fresh out of the booster, as you say, Louis, like a 9 or a 9.5.
As it turns out, 25 years is a lot of time.
To just be sitting around.
You don't find cards in that condition.
Yeah,
very easily.
And it's really awesome, like seeing these cards unveiled. Lightning Bolt, just a classic. I remember I used to have 2 sets of beta Lightning Bolts, and Owen Turtnell would borrow one from me every tournament until I eventually gave him that playset, you know, about 6 or 7 years ago. It is a more generous gift than I anticipated, given the scarcity of beta Lightning Bolts, but I'm glad I did.
You can always take it back.
Yeah, that's how gifts work.
Swords to Plowshares, fantastic.
Pivotal card in the match we just saw, actually.
It certainly was. Yeah, that would go very nicely.
And that's the awesome thing about Legacy, too, is you get to see all these cards from Alpha still making waves. And whoa, Royal Assassin.
Royal Assassin there in
See,
pack number 5.
This is a win in all categories because it's one of the best cards you can open for limited, and it's just one of the best cards to open to keep. It's just awesome.
Right. It is also, though, a pretty abysmal rate in terms of power and toughness. We sort of thought it would be good to show at least one creature from the highlights here, because there aren't many around that you want in your deck.
Yes, one of the funny things, the quirks of really old Magic sets is the creatures tended to be quite bad. The spells tended to be fireballs and disintegrates.
I think it teaches so many important lessons too, right? You can use your creatures for something else than attacking.
Right.
It also changes the rules of the game completely. As long as the assassin is in play, visible to your opponent, they have to play with a completely different strategy. I really like that about this card.
Yeah, and imagine if you are playing right at the start of the game when beta is real, and someone plunks that down against you, and you've never seen it. There is no internet to know, oh yeah, I want a first bit Royal Assassin. That's what I'm hoping for out of the booster. What on earth is a Royal Assassin?
Drum roll, please. Tropical Island.
Wow.
Tropical Island is a nice one. I just love the way Beta Dual Lands look. I cannot get enough of them.
All right, we're moving on to pack 18 here. Pack 18 on this beta draft.
So, of course, there were 24 in total, the 8 players. Hemant Patel, who was in the draft, Maria? We got the full list.
Yes, we have Michael Grothy, Philip Lee, Jeremy Denman, DeWitt Kane, Hemant Patel, Devin Kepke, Derek Correa, and Jonathan Brostoff.
And Luis, unless I'm very much mistaken, Hemant Patel was in your draft in Las Vegas.
Unless there are multiple Hemant Patels running around, then yes. And there's a lot of people in this world, there might be, but no, it is the same guy. He in fact did qualify for both beta drafts, which is an awesome achievement.
To be fair, at 0-3, you were going to see whether you could be the Hemant Patel of Magic.
I was in heated negotiation with my Team Series team whether I could book a last-minute flight to GenCon. I was told no. I do not regret that decision.
I was going to ask you how you feel about that now.
Manivault, how about that?
Manivault is a nice one. Let you play a 5-drop on turn 2.
Because that's completely fair.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on to pack 19 now.
But see,
Pack
there was some
19.
concept, though, where tapping for 3 is too much. You have to pay 4 to untap it. Whereas Soul Ring taps for 2. That's fair. We all know that's acceptable.
Okay, well,
yeah.
That's all right then. Incidentally, if you have not had the chance to see Enter the Battlefield, the Walking the Plains guys, they made a fantastic documentary about the alpha playtest team, full of just jaw-dropping stories and nostalgia about this amazing game 25 years in. Just a truly fabulous piece of filmmaking. If you didn't see it at lunchtime, you must go check it out.
Oh, I will be watching that. Oh, man. Icy Manipulator. Again, one of the best cards you can imagine for Limited. Followed by Jade Statue, which I loved when I was a kid and I saw Jade Statue. It is an awesome card. And
Fork.
Then, wow, Fork. I think that Fork was one of the cards that may not have even really worked in the rules back then, but somehow people made it work.
But
Yeah,
it made
it's-
sense. And
It did.
like all these cards, top-down design, I want to be able to duplicate my spells just like a wizard would. And that's what the
I mean, the
card
templates were amazing too. Cormus Bell, right? This is a 4-mana artifact, and it says, all swamps in play are 1/1 creatures. They may be tapped and destroyed, and so forth. And so forth. You know what that means. It means they're 1/1 creatures, and so forth.
I love the wording on some of these old cards. It's so great. Hence, seeing the
Yeah.
word hence in the rules.
We're closing in on the end of our last pack of highlights, Louis, so just want to take the moment to say best of luck commentating on the final. Try not to cause actual bodily harm to anyone or anything while you're watching your teammates try to get you to the Team Series Championship. And,
Do we have the mic set up so I can talk to them directly from the booth? Or
I don't think we can arrange that.
Ooh.
So,
Bayou.
fantastic stuff.
All right, there you go. Those are our highlights from the GenCon beta draft that happened earlier this morning. Lots of really cool stuff open.
Yeah, and it's all part, of course, of our 25-year celebration. And just to look back and see so many glorious, glorious cards, and at last getting their moment to shine 25 years after they first went into a booster.